Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays. Taking a look at the Spitfire 9 at Tier 7. Now the Spit 9 isn't going to have any drastic changes, and this is going to be the overarching theme in a lot of my review of this platform, is that it's just meh. It's just another Spitfire. We've got 4 of them. This is the 3rd iteration of it. It still has 2 cannons just like the Spitfire. Except it's got 250 cals instead of 4 Browning. It's still pretty maneuverable, it's still got decent speed, decent altitude performance, and great maneuverability. It can do all the things that its little brother could at Tier 6. The only difference is you're going to be seeing primarily Tier 7s and some Tier 8s, so there's potential to go up against some jets. First thing I'm doing here is I'm heading towards the center because I want to be able to go after this airfield because that's what this airframe's really good for. But if you saw, I was looking up and I'm noticing that B-32 is definitely going to the airfield. Why is the player-controlled bomber going to the airfield when there's a mining facility? If you fly a bomber or any type of ground attacker, please go for the mining facility. I'm going after this P-38, and you can see that with those 50 cal machine guns do add just a little bit more damage, and these are the Mark V cannons, so there's a little bit more damage out of those as well. But everything's scaled up when we went up to Tier 7, so even though we've got a little bit more oomph, we're just still competitive. It just kept us on pace for the aircraft's increase in capability with the increase in capability of all the adversaries we're going up against. I'm gonna overheat the guns here. I was hoping to get that Focke-Wulf before he got out of the zone. I see a player in a Typhoon. He is not going to be able to outmaneuver me, and I am going to take advantage of the fact that he is target focused. We're going to go after this P-40, but we don't need to because it looks like we've already captured the zone. So now I got to go to the mining facility and try and stop the ground attackers and the bombers from capturing that thing. So I dipped the nose down to get a little bit more velocity. There's a B-17G up there, and that thing just has tons of 50 cal machine guns I would prefer not to mess with right now. So I'm going to go after this GA. I think I'm going to have to mess with that B-17, but luckily he's in AA fired, because there's only heavy artillery AA here, so only high altitude. So while I don't need to deal with getting shot at by machine guns, he's getting peppered by these artillery shells. So that B-17 will be easier to go after later. Taking out aircraft inside these zones, especially enemy aircraft, captures a lot more of that zone for you. I don't want to sit behind this guy because he's got pretty good tail gunners, but the damage is going to be enough on this airframe to be able to knock him out pretty quickly. And now that we've taken him out, we're just 1 aircraft away from capturing the zone. Let's go ahead and see if we can get up to this B-17. Like I said, he's been getting nailed by that artillery, and you can see it's definitely taken its toll on his HP. So rather than trying to chase directly behind him, I know he's coming back, so I'm kind of vectoring for an intercept course. That way I can parallel him as he's on the outside edge of the zone, and as he turns in, now I'm going to close on the target, so that way I'm not burning too much of my energy, and that also allowed me to get my airspeed up just a little bit and save some boost. We managed to get this zone already, so I didn't need to kill the B-17, but it was nice to take him out so that way he wasn't already bombing and trying to get this site back. Now that we have the mining plant and one of the garrisons, that means that we effectively have 3 zones right now, because we're just going to be ticking away. I was worried about this 410, and I was scared he was going to ram me. I'm sure he was going to go for it too. We are able to get these cannons to make contact. I am really glad I have Marksman 1 on this aircraft for that very reason, but it looks like, I've got another heavy on me. Man, we are not doing well. I'm going to make sure I stay outside the zone. I would love to be able to get some damage on these guys, but I have a strong feeling I'm just not going to be able to do anything against these guys. Maybe I can get underneath this 410. Yeah, I got underneath the 410. That's good, but looks like the other player, there's a player in a 109G, and he got on me and took me out, so not much we can do there. There's a lot of red over that mining plant, but most of them are heavy aircraft right now, and oh no, they've turned out. Looks like there's 2 GA and a bomber are back again. I'm really going to have to burn to get over there to try and capture that. or at least slow them down. But they're bots, so I have a feeling it'll take them a little while. And I do see that there's a low health multi-role sitting over our garrison. I would like to maintain at least one other zone besides the mining plant, because then we'll be at a disadvantage even if you got the mining plant. You can't win with just the mining plant. You need the mining plant and another zone. Otherwise, the enemy's going to be able to outpace you on capture. Shouldn't take much to get this guy. He's already low health, but I don't want him getting any of this zone if I can avoid it. And we got a Corsair coming in. An F4, U4, so this is going to be the tier 7. We got a lot of damage on him really quick there, but you can see that we're able to rip him up pretty good, and I believe the 50 cals lit him on fire. There's a Yak 9 going for a head-on. Usually this is a dangerous proposition, but we're kind of pulsating the fire just a little bit, and we managed to take him out. I'm pretty sure we took one of his big cannon shells, though, because you can see we're down to 61 hit points. I'm not too worried about that multi-roll now. He's getting engaged by one of our heavies. Yep, Mosquito managed to take him out. So we've got the 2 GAs. The bomber is very low health, but I'm not too concerned about him at the moment. I am really concerned, however, about this Typhoon, which is that player we were dealing with early. I'm kind of baiting him here because I took a couple pot shots at that GA, so he probably thought he had a good pass on me. But no, man, I was waiting for you to make that move, and I'm getting my guns on target, trying to keep you from killing that Mosquito to capture the zone, and I managed to buy myself just a little bit more time. That B-17 is hurt. I would love to be able to knock him out, so we're going to go ahead and dip the nose a little bit and tap the boost, get those guns on target, and knock him out. The 20s can reach out pretty far, but the 50s can actually make contact here now. Good thing he's gone. Even though I lost the engine, I still got altitude, so I have airspeed. We're going to dive down on this JU-88. I'd rather go after him first than the 265, because the 265 is going to be a lot harder to go after with his dual 13mm turrets in the back. I was hoping the JU-44 had turned at this point, but he did not. Squall lines here, so that's good. Anything we knock out stays dead. I don't see anybody coming back. I was worried that 410 was going to come in here, but it looks like we just ticked over on the mining plant, which is awesome because I think we just got the capture points we needed. And and you see here, we actually lost a player. Ace of Spades and the F7F was gone, so that kind of put us at a bit of a disadvantage. Let's go ahead and get to the end results screen and take a look at this airframe a little bit more in depth. Oof. Alright, so a man down, but in a bomber that was going after the wrong target, and we still managed to finish on top, not just on the team, but just the team in general, being able to squeeze out a victory from that battle. I know the score here, you're seeing a 600 to a 300 point difference here, but I really feel like we had to work to get that victory, so that's good. It kind of highlights, it's nice to have the all-around kind of borderline overpowered plane line when you're in a situation like this, and I think this is why some people gravitate towards the Spitfires. It's because it's easy, and for newer players it's a great way to break into it and kind of get the mechanics of the game. But then for the seasoned players, when you're stuck in a situation where you kind of gotta carry a little bit and make up for some of the losses for the team, and in our case it was actually losing Ace of Spades right from the beginning of the battle. I'm not sure what happened there, if he disconnected or what was going on, but it just kind of put us in a little bit of a bad spot. And you can even see there was another guy from his same clan on the other side, Bobby Tables, so I'm willing to bet he didn't just back out of the game because his friend was on the other side. I bet you it's probably a result of just a bad connection, because a lot of us have been kicked out of the game, at least on the NA server. But anyways, we're here to talk about the aircraft, so let's talk about the airframe and go ahead and take a look at it in the depot, or in the tech tree rather, so we can kind of compare the modules. Now, from plane to plane, I mentioned that the only major change is going to be, yeah, there we are. The only major change is going to be the Browning 50 cal machine guns, right? So you're going to go from having 4 Browning 303s to 2 50 cal machine guns, which means that you're going to get a little bit of a bump in range and a little bit of a bump in overall damage. Because even though you're only getting 2 guns, each one of those guns is doing more than double what a single Browning would. So you're actually going to end up on top here. It's only going to be, what is that, 4 damage per second more than what you would have had previously, but it adds up, right? Rate of fire is a lot faster too on the 50 cals, believe it or not, which means that your chance of fire is going to kick up a little bit with that in conjunction with a higher rate of fire, because you're going to have more opportunities to proc that fire chance. At least that's the way I interpret it. And while it is nice to get the next generation of cannon with a little bit more range and a little bit more damage and a little bit more rate of fire, the real benefit to getting these Mark Vs is that these are the same Mark Vs that are going to be on the Spit 14, which means that if you take a look at the tech tree here, the Spit 14 already has the 20mm cannons unlocked from this airframe. That means that all we need to do is do the engines and the airframe, which is fine. I mean, yeah, we're going to have to get all those engines in order to get this thing all the way up to its premier status, to get this thing where it needs to be, and that airframe will give us a little bit more on the hit points as well. The Spit 9, it's just kind of boring, and the reason I say it's boring is you just came off of the Spit 5, so you're already used to having the 2 20mm cannons, and the Spit 1, it very much behaves the same, right? So you started with the Spit 1, you got the Spit 5, now you're under the Spit 9, and then you're going to get the Spit 14. So you got 4 Spitfires, and they all fly generally the same. They're going to be able to turn and burn just like the best of them. But it's just more of the same, right? If it had 420mm cannons like the Spit 14 did, then it would feel different. But really, it just feels like a Spit 5 just with enough extra damage and a little bit more engine power to make it still competitive at the following tiers. So it's more the same. You're just going up against tier 7 and 8 aircraft. That's your only change. So I don't know. I'm not going to keep the Spit 9 just because it's boring, it's bland. I'll keep a Spit 14 just because I have to, right? Like that's the meta, so I might as well keep one in the hangar even if I don't intend on flying it. But we'll get there soon enough. Since this thing is a turn and burn platform, we did go with improved lightweight wing frame, but we don't have the option to put in another piece of equipment here in the engine slot or in the airframe. You do get a slot for getting the control surfaces back up, or sorry, underneath the airframe, which I'm always going to opt for the emergency control systems, because if I lose my tail, then I'm dead in the water. I gotta turn in order to be a good fighter in this aircraft. I can't just run away. Since we do have firefighter on the airframe, we did go with the medkit. That's pretty standard for us, and we also have the universal ammo. I went with the improved sight, and it is nice here that we get an increased chance of causing critical damage, which will allow us to kind of knock out components to make it easier to finish off airframes. And again, turn and burn fighter, so firefighter, aerodynamics expert. I went with marksman. I want those guns to hit, especially since they're wing mounted. I'm not going to go marksman 2 on this pilot. I will probably be getting Engine Guru 1 or Aerobatics Expert. It's going to be a toss-up at this point, but one of those two I'm going to slap on here, so that way when he gets to the Spit 14, he's going to be that much more capable. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the Spit 9. Aside from the gameplay, which I hope you guys found as enjoyable as I did, the plane itself is just meh. It's more of what you had. It's gonna be a good plane. It's just I don't feel an emotional connection to this thing because it's just another Spitfire on my way to the Spit 14 with more cannons. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.